Hello, welcome to my day one experiment podcast, where we're going to talk about the idea of just getting started. Because, so many of us are stuck just overthinking. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I am stuck a lot of the time, just overthinking things. Like, oh, what kind of video should I make? What should I talk about? And you know what? I think today I'm just gonna change things up a little bit. So I'm gonna pick any random topic that comes to my head and I'm gonna try and record it just for fun because I think that's better than doing nothing. You know, a lot of what holds me back is I think about something and I think, oh, yeah, maybe I could use my skills to help people with this particular thing. And then if I think about it too long, I kind of go, maybe they won't really like it. Or maybe someone else is already doing it really well. But that's just me making a whole bunch of assumptions. And I don't think that's a good thing. So here I am. You know, you don't know if you don't try. Maybe someone else will get value out of this, even though I don't see it or I can't think of what kind of value they get. Maybe they just want to hear someone talk and just feel a little bit less alone. Well, if the video helps you in any way, then it's better than nothing. And yeah, so I guess the things that what can I talk about? Things that I can help you with. There's so many things that I'm sure people need help with. The things that I can help with. Well, let's see. I grew up in Singapore, so I'm not sure if you know any Singaporean people, but I doubt that a lot of them sound like me. And that's because I was raised around Western media a lot when I was a kid. I really enjoyed it. And everyone has their own taste. Um, when I was younger, I really, really didn't like the Singaporean accent so much so that it made me cringe. I would listen to it and I'd go like, man, why can't people just speak like in the movies, the Americans, the British, they have such cool, amazing accents. Why can't people just speak like that? But as time went by, things change. The things that I used to think were really annoying, now I kind of think are like, somewhat annoying, maybe, but some of them are actually really nice now. You know, you start to get an appreciation for things that you didn't in the past. But that said, you know, if you do want to sound a different way, that's okay as well, right? So let's say you're born in Singapore, like me, and you, like me, also don't really like the people around speaking Singlish, and you don't want to speak like Singlish or sound Singlish or have a Singaporean accent. That is totally okay if you decide that that's what you want. Okay, you don't have to fall into peer pressure or anything. And yeah, like you should be the only one who can judge you. And at the same time, don't judge other people. It's one of the main reasons why people are so afraid to make change is other people judging them. So, for example, in Singapore, when I was there, it was a very conservative country. And so when someone did something special, when someone did something like out of the ordinary, something that in other places may amaze people, maybe like, wow, that person's got such talent. They sound so cool, so unique. When I was living in Singapore, and I only lived there until I was 13, so maybe it was like a high school thing. But when I was there, it was very much if you did anything that was kind of cool or different than the people around you, they would try and bring you down. They would be like, oh, this guy is showing off. Look at him. Look at this show off. thinks he's so cool. Ah, show off, yeah. And I feel like that's just jealousy coming out in a really ugly way. And that's really probably, like stopped a lot of people from expressing their creativity. I'm hoping this changed now. It's been a couple more than a decade since I've been in Singapore growing up there. So I'm hoping things are becoming a little bit more progressive and a little bit less judgmental. But yeah, the way that if that's not the case and you find that's not the case, then one of the ways that we can make that better is by making sure that we're not those people. So it's like the saying, be the good that you want to see in the world. Right? So it starts with us. We got to be that good, so we can't judge other people. If we see some of our friends wanting to make a change, they're wanting to improve. So a very common example of this are people going to the gym, right? You might see overweight people going to the gym. In fact, I feel like that's one of the things that you don't usually see sometimes, because potentially, from what I've been told, those people are afraid of being judged, right? There's a bunch of like really fit guys there, all the muscles and thin girls, and to be like an outsider, an overweight person going into the gym filled with those people, you might feel a bit uncomfortable and not very confident. But if you do have the courage to go in there and make that change, we, we got to make sure that we support those people, right? Because it takes courage to do that sometimes, and we shouldn't bully them. We should definitely do everything we can, just be kind and try and help. That's how I would feel, anyways. Like I feel like if everyone did that, that would be amazing, and I feel like it's going to take a certain level of that to overcome the fear of people, maybe the stereotype that some people have. Like, oh, if I go out and do this thing, people are going to judge me. Same with your voice, your accent, right? So if you're in Singapore and you don't sound Singaporean, people make fun of you, like, hey, why are you speaking so weird? Don't let them get to you. Okay, you're you, and you get to decide who you want to be. Okay, same anywhere else. If you're in Australia, you don't have an Australian accent, people shouldn't be making fun of you. If you're in America, I feel like that happens less because they're very used to everyone having different accents. So maybe it's fine. And Hollywood is, full of very wild and interesting characters. So I think that helps a little bit. Yeah. So that being said, I did have to craft my own voice. So I started out with the foundations of Singaporean Singlish, okay, and then slowly incorporated what I could as a kid. It was really like how I learned was like by by intimidating, like not intimidating, imitating people. That's the word. By imitating movies and TV shows and trying to copy what they did and how they sounded like. So if you're wanting to make a change in that direction as well, if you're not very happy with the way that you sound, then that's probably what I would recommend first, is to just try and monkey see monkey do, as the was the old saying. And yeah, that's a good start, you know and there's a whole bunch of different things that can help that I learned years later, like the vocal exercises. When you start thinking about your voice is really determined by how well you can use your instrument and how well you have, I guess, honed or raised your instrument, if that makes sense. So if you don't have a good foundation for your tone or your depth of voice, your breath control, which is like your projection, and your mouth movements, if you don't have very good control of your mouth, your tongue movements, then that affects the way that you sound, right? So number one, aside from monkey see monkey do, which is always great and it's fun sometimes, especially when you're younger. If you're older, it's also fun. Just don't let people judge you, because that's where the fun gets taken out of when you think people are judging you, right? So That's one. Number two, while you're doing that, I recommend you try and build your foundation. So that be vocal exercises like the lip fluttering, right? So like, I'm sure you've heard of that one. It's relatively easy to do once you know how. And how you're meant to do it, from what I've been told, is you need to relax your neck, you need to relax your shoulders, you need to relax, yeah, just like the upper half above your chest, just kind of make sure that's as relaxed as it can be. And when you breathe in, you want to make sure that your chest doesn't, like you're not contracting this as you're breathing in. You want to be breathing in around your diaphragm. So imagine just below your chest, there's like a little band, a little circle going around, and you want to feel that band expanding. So your breath is kind of, imagine it filling the bottom half of your stomach, just below the lungs. Yeah, I'm hoping that description kind of helps. So you breathe in that way, you relax all the above, you relax your mouth as much as you can. Sometimes you do it by accident, right? Sometimes you take a really big breath in and you let it out, and your mouth is really relaxed, like your lips and your mouth, and you just kind of make like a horse sound. You go like, right? So it's just that, but sustained. So for longer. And what that's supposed to do is it's supposed to teach you how air is meant to come out of your mouth and your lungs when you're speaking, and also when you're singing. So it's great for both. So if you don't know how to sing and you want to know, that's a really great starting point, because I didn't know how to sing for a long time. My singing teacher taught me that, and suddenly I was like, wow, this is amazing. I can sing now. So yeah, that's a really great exercise. And a variation of that, it's like the tongue thrills, tongue flutters, where you do the same thing, but instead of using your lips, you go like, right? And that warms up your tongue while also helping you with the breath thing. So I recommend you practice that every chance you get, every day, if possible. Consistency over time equals like growth and results, right? Same applies for your voice. And if you do it more and more often, it builds muscle memory. And really, it's muscle, right? It's movement. So that's number one. Number two, the thing that I wish that I knew earlier, that I would have practiced sooner, is mouth and tongue movement exercises. So especially if you're learning English and you had a different language before and the pronunciations were like completely different to English, some of the sounds are not the same, some of the letters and stuff, then this is going to be helpful for you. Okay, so the first thing to know when you do these things is go slow first. So imagine you're like learning how to play the guitar. Right? When you learn how to use the guitar and you play the chords, you got to make the chord shapes. At first, when you learn, if any of you've learned before, you'll know what I mean. Like it takes a little while for you to get used to the shape, and then you slowly, like uncomfortably, move it to the other shape, and it takes a bit for you to become comfortable enough with the movement that you can go through it quickly. And that's how you learn how to play a guitar. Same with speaking. Okay, if you want to speak a different way, because chances are the way that you speak now is just the way that you're used to speaking, because your mouth has done that movement so many times that that's the way that you naturally, you know, speak. And yeah, so if you want to change it, you need to make something else natural. And so the exercise is something I learned in drama school. So I used to go to drama in high school in Australia. They were great. Marilyn Brand, she's awesome. She taught me this exercise, me and my classmates. So we were in drama, and she basically said, imagine the vowels in English. Okay, you think about the vowels. So what are vowels? Vowels are the sounds that we make in English: A, E, I, O, and then U. Right? So imagine making those sounds, but transitioning. So how it went is you kind of go like yo yi ya yi yo yi ya yi, and you do that. Like yo ya yo ya yo ya. It's a great mouth warm up to get your mouth muscles nice and ready, and it also helps with making the sounds that you hear in English. And of course, you can do variations of that where you change the starting letter, where you kind of go like boy, bai, toy, tai, koi, kai, koi, kai. So that's a great exercise. I really like that. It's really helped me, especially when I have to do like presentations and stuff, or if I have to go up and speak. I tend to do both the lip fluttering thing, the tongue fluttering thing, and that mouth exercise, like just before I have to go and do those things, because it really helps me when I have to speak in public or to other people. Yeah. So I hope that was helpful. If you haven't heard of those before, maybe give those a try. And again, try to do them consistently if you can. The Yeah, so I know this video is supposed to be like random things and I'm experimenting, but I'm hoping that some of this random information will actually be useful to you for anyone who happens to watch. If not, it's just going to be me, and I'm going to pretend that I'm recording this for either my past self, my future self, or my future kids, if I'm lucky enough to have kids, or unlucky. I don't know. It kind of depends on how they turn out and how the world turns out. But yeah, okay. I don't know how long the video's been, so I'm gonna stop it here. And my goal is to try and do this like once a day for maybe the next like 100 days. 100-day challenge is very popular, right? So, but it's really just an exercise in me like doing something instead of just thinking about it and thinking about it and just never doing anything. So, all right, I hope this has helped you. I hope wherever you are, you're doing okay. Spread some kindness, spread some joy, ask some great questions, which maybe I'll cover in the next video, right? But if you found this was useful or enjoyable or helpful in any way, feel free to like or share it with anyone else that you feel might get something out of this. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you next time.